Okay, so this is the time of year we start thinking about how to make an Easter wreath. Now usually this involves people coming to the flower shop and saying, can you do me a little favour? Sorry, that's Idris Elba crowing. Can you do me a little favour? Can you make me an Easter wreath? And we'll buy it. And of course we can't do that now. So this is going to be what it's really like in reality. So you can't go to the florist and you can't buy all your fancy foliage, you can't buy all your bits and pieces. You've got to kind of rummage through, see what you've got. And this is what we've got. We've got a wreath frame left over from last year. So we just literally cut everything off that was on the Christmas wreath and you're just left with a wreath frame. Now, what you need to do is you need to get a framework, he's very vocal, and build it up so we can then start layering up the foliage. Now you can do this in many ways. The easiest thing, if you're at home and you haven't got access to anything, is string. But I'm lucky because I found an old reel of wire in the garage. So what you're doing is you're looping over the string or the wire, whatever it is, a couple of times and creating a nice secure end bit. Doesn't matter how you do it, just keep looping it really. Now, what we do as a florist is we go down and we buy our fantastically prepared clean moss. Of course you can't get that now. Well, I did actually go and moss line a couple of planters. So I've managed to combine bits of dried stuff from the lawn, bits of dried stuff from the wet stuff from the roof, bits from the garden, a little bit out of planters. So, God, it's very noisy. I'm going to put that on the frame, just like a Christmas wreath. Flop the wire over a couple of times. Oh my God, look, there's a snail. Sorry, mate, do apologise. Just move that snail. You can tell it's proper garden stuff. So, I'm just going to put the moss on, just bind it over. And so you can use string, you can use raffia. I'm lucky enough to find some wire. Michael, sorry, that's a Jack Russell. So, finish the old moss. All I'm going to do, go over, just leave the wire or string or raffia or anything else just hanging. And then the next thing is to foliage up. Now I've had a bit of a rummage through. Say we're in the vegetable garden rather than the formal house garden. So I've just, everything here I've managed to nick. So we've got bits of conifer, we've got bits of holly, oh, it doesn't like, bay, eucalyptus berry, a little bit of contorted, a willow, and a few feathers. So next thing I'm going to do is shoot my cockerel, and I'm going to put a couple of bits of foliage, different kinds of foliage, round together and then over. This is not going to look like a normal florist's wreath because I haven't got enough foliage and it's not particularly brilliant quality. What I'm doing is I'm getting little bundles and I'm just flopping over and bringing it back. Okay, I'm left-handed so I find it easy to work that way around the wreath. And actually looks quite nice. You can see a bit of moss or straw or whatever. I'm going to find, I'm really lucky because I've got hens. So I've got feathers. These are actually feathers that I've nipped from over there. But I'm going to put a couple of feathers. Just going to lay them on top of the foliage. I found a little bit of eucalyptus pod. And I'm just going to flip that over and wire that in at the same time as I'm wiring in my foliage. Just going to keep it going. Add a bit more foliage. Okay, so I've now gone all the way around the wreath, putting my last little bits and pieces in. Now when you're choosing your foliage, remember, it's got to last, so try and go for leathery things like conifer, like holly, like I've got some olive, we've got an olive tree over there. This is bits of God knows what, found in the garden. This, honestly, I hate conifer. You know, Leylandii with a passion, but it's just such a vibrant foliage to use. So, to finish off, get my last bit, a nice handful there. I'm going to place it in the gap, and I'm just going to flop it over. There we are. A couple of times, pull it tight. 1, 2, 3. Oh, give that good old pull. Sorry, just being smutty there in my head. Right, so I'm going to cut this off. I know there's a bit of a gap there, but don't worry, we'll find something to do with that. I'll cut this off. Thread this round the back, and there's a little bit of a metal frame there. If you can see it, got to keep our social distancing. There we are. Under, give it a bit of a pull, go through it a couple of times, go around it a couple of times to secure it. If you're using string, you tie it off now. Okay, so a bit gappy there, but pretend it doesn't actually look gappy. So, how do you want to decorate it? The easiest way of decorating it is using eggs, very, very seasonal. Now, if you've got children, obviously blow the eggs, just go on normal hen's eggs and blow them, and then you can use the eggy stuff to make things. Now, I'm going to cheat, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue these in. And the reason why I'm going to glue these in is, you know, if you wire them, they're a bit too fragile to do, and this is like reality, isn't it? So, what you use to glue them, I'm going to use a glue gun because I happen to have one, but use Yoo-hoo, use any kind of glue that you can go and get hold of, super glue. So, oh dear, right, everyone has a glue gun in their garden. Bit of glue, hold it there, that's it, two. This is very natural looking, due to the fact that not everyone's going to be able to go and get hold of everything we need. Put that one there. So I'll do 3 there, 2. 3. Let's hold it, let it stick. Another couple. 1, 2. That's not very, both that one, that doesn't really go, does it? Use one of those. 2. I mean, if you have got ribbon, you can put ribbon on it. I tend not to be a very ribbony person. It's funny because when we look at, which is ironic when we think how much ribbon I've got in the shop, but for wreaths, not always needed. And I know whenever it comes to Christmas, we do wreaths. You can always tell who makes it. If I make it, it's about the size of a wagon wheel. If Becky makes it, it's beautifully lovely and very, very pretty. Rachel's kind of slightly wild. Lisa is like, let's shut the kitchen sink in it. So if I was in the shop, I'd sit there thinking, oh yeah, I know I made that. First of all, because I made it. Secondly, because it's a bit big. And I've got a very small cottage. Anyway, that's my eggs all attached. Just shove that one there. Oh, that's really annoying me, that one there, because it leaves another, I found another one there. Let's go and use you. Right. Okay. Get rid of that glue. Okay, so the final thing is attaching it to the door. And what you do is find out which is your front, which is your back. I'll probably, what do you reckon? I don't know. Gin and tonic yet, which is a bit worrying really. So I'm going to find my, in amongst all of this stuff, my wire. I wonder if the chickens run off. Yeah. Have you run off with it? So I'm going to go a bit of wire, or you can use string. In fact, to be honest, I usually find strings easier. I'm just going to create a loop like that. Okay. Now, which one's the top? Which one's the bottom? There's the top. Right. I'm going to find a little bit of spare wire there, the original frame. Can you see there's a bit of original frame there? Pop it underneath. And then, if that was string, you tie it off, like so. 1, 2. So, final job. Oh, yes, that's Hattie Jakes. Neil, who's a female. This is Slocum. Samantha Fox. And Idris Elba, the cockerel, is looking a bit bald at the moment, but he's one that was very vocal. And I've got Jack Russell looking around somewhere who hasn't managed to eat the chickens yet. So, final thing, I'll pop it in the door and tell me what you think. Now, quick recap, you need a door ring. Now, if you haven't got one, if you can't find your Christmas wreath, then message me, because I've got 1 or 2 spare ones in the shop, and just message me and I can always kind of give it to you. You need some string or something to actually bind the moss around. Now, if you can't get hold of moss, you can use straw. Some people use kind of newspaper, which seems a bit weird, but I personally prefer moss. But just think about how you're going to get hold of it, and I say or straw, that's just as easy. Go round the ring, clumps of foliage. You saw what I've used, literally it's stuff from all around the garden, up there, this got, and just whatever you can find in the hedgerow, whatever you can find, and then wherever you want to decorate. It's easy. The thing is, it's your ring. You made it under, trying circumstances. Each one's going to be different. Each one's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to put it on my front door now.